Alright, hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are checking out the RK2020. This is a handheld emulation device that came out several months ago, and since then a lot of other similar handhelds have come out. But I think there are a lot of reasons why it's still worth checking out today, which I will get into throughout the video. But first of all, the price point. When this thing came out, it was over $100. Right now it's only about $60 US. I couldn't pass up that deal. I went ahead and picked up two of them, one for me and one for my daughter. It comes in two different colors. This is the plastic version. There's also a metal version, which is more expensive, but I went ahead and picked up one of each of the plastic variants. We're going to go ahead and do a little unboxing today. We're going to give our first impressions and try out a few games and talk about, whether this is worth your money, especially at only $60. Is it worth the purchase, or should you spend a little more and buy one of the other handhelds that are out right now? Let's check these out. So I got one of each color. One is it's like a black or smoky gray kind of transparent color, and the other one is purple. Let's see which one this is. Oh, hold on. Teasing. Alright, so before we open it up, what does this say? For retro games, there's a 3.5mm headphone jack and built-in speaker, IPS screen. I think it's like a 3.5-inch screen. Brightness and volume adjustment, which we'll talk about later on. Rechargeable 2600 milliamps lithium battery, and a USB type C. Doesn't tell us too much, doesn't tell us about the processor or anything like that. We'll go ahead and get into that in a moment. Let's open this up. What color is this one? Ooh, this is the black. Alright, it looks pretty nice. It looks very sleek. I love the color. Look at this. This is always so satisfying. Peel that baby off. Oh yeah. Okay, sweet. Hey guys, this is it. This is the build right here. So you have the D-pad over here, which feels good to me. It's a little loose, but it feels great. And a little thumbstick here. They do give you this little rubber nub thing. You put this over the thumbstick so that you can grip it better. I'm gonna go ahead and slide that on right now. Is it on? Not exactly. How do you do this? I'm afraid I'm gonna press on it too hard and break something here. Okay, there we go. It's on now. Yeah, the thumbstick feels really loose. I don't know. It is, at least it's a real thumbstick, kind of like a Nintendo Switch or something. It's not a slide around one. It actually moves around properly. We got our standard A, B, X, Y buttons. Feel decent. I feel like they protrude a little bit much, like a little sharper on the edges. I'm just being picky though. Yeah, here, select and start buttons down here, they barely stick out at all in contrast to the other buttons, but give a nice click, nice feedback there. Up top you got your L1, R1, L2, R2, and this is one of the things I really like better about this build in comparison to, say, the Odroid Advance Go, which this was kind of based on. People hate on this one a lot for copying what the Odroid did, but honestly, I mean, how are you really gonna get offended when one of these emulation devices copies another emulation device? Emulation in itself is just copying other devices, right? So I mean, we could get into a whole thing there, but I can't hate on what they did, because I think they took the idea of the Odroid, but they improved upon it using their own style of, body, their own button layout, which just seems a lot better to me, especially these top buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and put the specs up on the screen really quick. For CPU, we have a Rockchip RK2020 quad-core ARM Cortex-A35 at 1.3 gigahertz. Like I say, we've had a lot of new handhelds coming out to kind of compete with this, but it seems like they're all using pretty much the same processor. We really haven't had any kind of big jumps in, CPU or GPU. GPU here is a Mali G31. You know what? I don't know what that means too much, but I do know I've compared a bunch of these different handhelds and they all pretty much seem to have the same specs. So it really comes down to which you know, which body do you like best? Which form factor do you like? I like this one, especially at the price. For RAM, you have 1 GB DDR3. The display is a 3.5 inch 320 by 480 IPS, and the battery you have 26 milliamp. I forget what that word means. I'm just reading off a list here. I don't know, but like I said, I've compared a bunch of these and they're pretty much all the same as for CPU and GPU power. So up here you have a headphone jack, there's a USB input, you got your power charging, USB-C, and this I imagine is the power button. On the bottom you've got a looks like a speaker over here. It's maybe a reset button, I'm not too sure. And your micro SD card. So this actually came with a micro SD card preloaded. Oh, that just popped right out. It came with a 32 GB micro SD card. I think there are some games on there. We'll go ahead and check that out in a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the other color, the purple version. Yeah, it's a nice color too, really. It's kind of like a dark purple, almost bluish. On the camera it looks more purple, but in person in this lighting it looks very bluish purple. Take this off once again just because I enjoy it so much. Throw on the little knobby knob, the little grip here. See if I can do it more quickly than I did the first time. Yeah, there we go. Looks like I mastered it. What else do we have in the box though? We have an instruction manual. Looks like it's in Chinese. Oh, English. Alright, there we go. We don't need instructions. We don't need no stinking instructions. What else do we have? We have a USB Type-C charger. And is this a Wi-Fi dongle? Dude, did I actually buy a Wi-Fi dongle for this? No, it's not. I did buy a Wi-Fi dongle. This is an SD card reader. Let's go ahead and turn one of these on. This is taking a minute to boot up, which I'm used to from like Raspberry Pi. You know, that takes a little while to boot up as well. Alright, look at this. So this front end is pretty. This SD card came with 228 games. That's pretty cool. But yeah, compared to some of these other handhelds that are out there, you know, a lot of them run on Android or other systems that just aren't as visually pleasing. They're not as simple as this. You have these screens with all these different little icons. You have to go into each emulator separately. This one, you just choose your system and you choose your game from there, and it's just so easy. It's so pleasant to just be greeted with this beautiful screen, you know. So what do we have? We have Capcom Play System 1, 11 games. I wish these were scraped. You're gonna have to go ahead and scrape these yourself, it looks like. And to do that, you're gonna have to hook up a USB Wi-Fi dongle to connect to your internet. There's no built-in Wi-Fi, which is a little frustrating, I gotta say. What else we got? Dreamcast. We got 3 Dreamcast games: Jet Set Radio, Rez, and Sonic Adventure 2. You know we're gonna check out some Dreamcast in a bit. 5 MAME games: the JoJo game, Red Earth, Street Fighter 3. So these are actually CPS 3 games. Game Boy, we got 2 games: Espedo Blast, Libet and the Magic Floor. I don't know about those games. Game Boy Advance, 42 games. Broken Circle, Bullet. I don't know any of these games, man. These are some weird names, weird games. These are not the kind of games I want to be playing on this. What else we got, man? Game Boy Color, Game & Watch, Harvest Moon, Legend of Zelda. There we go. Mario Golf. Here we go. Mario Tennis. We got good Game Boy Color games. That Game Boy Advance collection was just sorry, though. You know what? I'm not gonna... This is taking way too much time going through all these systems, so we're just gonna check out a couple of them. N64, we got Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Super Mario 64. Alright, so I mean, all of these game systems, you got 39 NES games, 7 PC Engine games, 14 ports. What do we have on the ports? 2048. We got this Outrun clone or something, Cave Story, Commander Keen. That's what's up. Diablo, what? Dino Thar, Doom, there we go. Doom 2, heck yeah. Mr. Boom, Bomberman clone. Quake, There we go. Reminiscence, flashback, I don't know. Rick Dangerous, Prince of Persia. Oh, PSP, 3 PSP games. We have The City of Final Fantasy, Dynasty Warrior, Strike Force, and Naruto Shippuden. PlayStation 3 games, Toy Story 2, Street Fighter 03. Only those 2 games. It says 3. So we all know that these older games are going to work just fine. Game Boy, NES, Super NES, all that should be totally fine. Let's go ahead and hop into some N64, some PS1, and some Dreamcast, just whatever games came on this thing. We'll check out some of the more demanding games and see how this runs. PSP as well. Alright, here we have some Dreamcast Jet Set Radio. I had no problems at all with Dreamcast. Dreamcast played really well, really smooth and perfectly, really. The only thing is, and you can probably see from this footage, everything's been downscaled so much for this little screen. Everything just looks really kind of rough around the edges. I want to say it looks kind of pixelated, even though that's not the right word to say because, well, these are polygons we're talking about, not pixels. But it has that look. Everything has a really kind of jagged edge. It just doesn't look smooth, but I can get around that. I can get past that just fine for the fact that you're playing Dreamcast on a handheld and it's so smooth and fluid and fun. And a little Sonic Adventure 2 as well. Same thing, it worked fine. You're seeing some weird lines on the picture. That's just because of my camera. It doesn't actually look like that on the handheld. It looks perfect. Except, like I say, the kind of jagged edges on things. You get a little bit of graphical glitches here and there. That part of the game always seems to glitch on these things, where you see Sonic inside the helicopter you're not really supposed to. And the big test on this is always listening to the music, right? Does the music skip at all? Does it stutter? And we can say that no. If you listen to that audio, it sounds perfect. Who doesn't love that song? It's so iconic. Follow my rainbow. Everybody loves this song, come on. But yeah, super smooth, just buttery smooth gameplay here. It's so good. Okay, testing out some N64, starting out with Mario Kart 64. And so you get some stuttering here when the race is starting. For some reason, it slows down, but once you actually get started with the racing, it runs pretty well. I found Mario Kart to be very, very playable and enjoyable. Like I say, just it stutters a lot. Oh, there is one annoying thing actually, is you might have heard that I muted the volume. If you hold R1 and press L2 in game, it will mute the audio. There might be some way to disable that, I'm not too sure. But you know, while I'm drifting with the R1 button and then pressing L2 to fire a weapon while I'm drifting, I kept muting the audio and it was driving me crazy. But like I say, there might be a way around this. If nothing else, you can probably live with it. I don't know. It was annoying though, for sure. But yeah, Mario Kart 64 worked just fine. Of course, that TV screen up there didn't work. A lot of emulators don't properly emulate that. Honestly, I didn't notice it at all when I was playing. I don't mind at all. You know, if you want perfect emulation, just don't emulate. You're gonna have to play on original hardware. That's all there is to it. But if you want, 99% accuracy, then this is pretty good. I did try Donkey Kong 64, and maybe I'll show you guys in another video. The default emulator on that one would not play it at all. It was so slow and so bad. I did switch cores to the parallel emulator and it ran a little bit better with some graphical glitches. That's one thing you'll see right here with Super Mario 64. But in the case of Donkey Kong, no, even that, it had this weird camera glitch that just made it really unpleasant and, to me, unplayable. But here you'll see I'm running Super Mario 64 on the default Mupen 64 core, and it has some noticeable slowdown in just random parts throughout the game. It'll just slow down, and it's a bit annoying. Let me see if I can get to that part. Show you an example of how it slows down. That volume. Yeah, to change the volume in game, it's really easy to do. You just hold select and then press up or down on the D-pad to raise and lower the volume. It works quite well. I know some people say that you can run Batocera on this device. Take my word for it, don't do it. You want to stick with Emulation. For some reason, running Batocera messes with the volume and screen brightness hotkeys, and you cannot change those. So you'll be playing the games, and oh, here I'm trying to fix the slowdown. I think you'll see right here when we get to this area, you'll see how much it slows down. It's not terrible. It's only occasionally. It just stutters. You can hear it in the sound and everything. Like right there, it's struggling. So here I switched over to the parallel emulator, and everything runs smooth like butter on the parallel emulator. However, that gameplay performance comes at the cost of dithering and graphical glitches. If you watch the windows on the castle, yeah, see that? That's not cool. But honestly, I'll take it. You know, the game's playable and it runs smooth. There's just gonna be some, some graphical glitches, and I understand. Again, a lot of people don't want to play the game this way. That's fine. Go play it on the N64 or play it on PC. You'll even see the lighting looks weird on Mario. It's like the color is weird. It looks like there's a weird shadow hanging over him. So yeah, some of these games, if the default emulator doesn't handle it well, you can maybe switch over to parallel for better performance, but it almost always comes at some, graphical glitches as well. And now for some reason my PC's lagging. Again, those scan lines are just because of my camera. The screen looked nice and clear and perfect. In fact, the screen looks really nice. It has really good viewing angles. I will show you a little bit later. Moving on, we tried Star Fox 64. It ran just fine. Again, I believe I switched cores on this one too. First time it booted up, it was all choppy. Switching cores though, it ran just fine. Some of these N64 games, you'll have to mess with the controls, the button mapping. Like on this one, you don't have all the C buttons, so I wasn't able to brake or do some of the maneuvering like I should have. But the game itself runs just fine. It was a lot of fun. I'll just have to work on the button mapping. Look at that. Nice, smooth gameplay. I got you, fam. No problem. Little Diddy Kong Racing. And Diddy Kong Racing is a little bit more graphically intensive than Mario Kart. Again, a little bit of slowdown just at the start. I don't know if it's me, but it seems a little slow. Even the music sounds a little off. But once it gets going, I'll test these out again and I'll put the frame count on so we can do a really detailed kind of look at the performance on these games. I'll do that in another video. So if there's certain specific games or platforms you want to see tested out on this device, let me know and I will do my best to make that happen in a future video. I feel like it's finally picking up speed, but it took a minute. Could just be in my imagination though. Alright, moving on. Some PSP, we have Dynasty Warrior Strike Force. Here we do have the FPS listed on the top right. And I was getting pretty much a solid 30 FPS on this game. Yeah, no problems at all here, even though you have a lot of enemies on the screen, you have a lot of stuff going on, but it handled it just fine. Steady 30 FPS. There you have it. Yeah, it runs perfectly. I tried a little bit of Naruto Shippuden, and I never played this game before. This one didn't run very well. You can see we're getting 15 frames per second. And I felt like moving around was kind of glitchy. I don't know if it was just a tutorial, but I lost patience before the end of the first mission. If you guys want to see more of this, that's cool. But I feel like, look at that, the movement. For some reason, I don't know if that's the way the game is, but it's like I would move the joystick around and he would just stop moving sometimes. I think it, like I say, it might just be the game. It might be the tutorial not letting me have full, functionality. But I got over that really quick. I mean, 15 frames per second, I think it's just the game. Because then from there we went on over to Dissidia, Final Fantasy, and we're back to a constant 30 frames per second. No issues here at all. Yep, nice, a fluid gameplay. It looked really nice on that screen as well. Really impressive performance. I wouldn't expect to play God of War, Chains of Olympus on this thing. There are certain games on any of these kind of 3D platforms that are gonna be hard to emulate, that are just not gonna run well on this platform, like most of these kind of lower end emulation devices, whether it's a Raspberry Pi or another handheld. They're just not quite powerful enough to handle some of these games, but the great majority of PSP games, PS1 games, a lot of N64 games are gonna be just fine. So I've been really impressed with this. Last up, we'll throw on a PS1 game. Of course, it's gonna be hard to find a PS1 game that doesn't run really well on this thing. Street Fighter 03 or Alpha 3. One thing that I found playing these fighting games is that the D-pad is not your friend. Originally I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this D-pad as much as possible. No, it's really not good at picking up those, in between direction moves, and when you gotta pull off your Hadokens and, down, diagonal, forward, whatever. It's not gonna handle those diagonals well. I couldn't do anything but switch over to the joystick and it feels really good. You can do your Hadokens, your Shoryukens, your whatever you're doing. It feels really great. It works perfectly with the joystick, so I eventually got the hang of it. Trying to figure out the controls here in this part of the video, but there it is. Yeah, it runs perfectly. Most PS1 games are gonna be just fine. All in all, I gotta say, I had a ton of fun. I'm continuing to have a ton of fun with this device. This is gonna be something that I'm going to pick up and play quite often. And I know I'm only showing you guys what came on the SD card with the console, but you're not expected to just play what's on this card. You're gonna want to throw on your own games for sure, or get a bigger micro SD card. I have a 256 gig card that I'm filling up to the brim with games right now, and I'm gonna throw in here. But even on that 32 gig card, you can fit a ton of these older games. Just any cartridge based game, you can have thousands of games on a 32 gigabyte SD card, no problem. All your NES, Super NES, MAME, even N64, those files are really, really small. It's not until you get into the CD based stuff, PlayStation, Dreamcast, even Sega CD, and any CD based ROM is gonna be a big file size, but cartridge based stuff, you're pretty much golden. So as I was saying earlier, it might be tempting to download one of those images that have, tons of ROMs on them already. And the only ones I found are using Batocera, and they're built for the Odroid Go Advance. And theoretically, they should work with the RK2020. Although, yes, technically it will run on this device, you don't want to use it. And I'll tell you why. There are hotkeys for volume and screen brightness that just don't correctly function on the RK2020, and these apparently cannot be changed. You'll be playing a game, and then all of a sudden when you need to press L2, well, that turns off the volume, or turns down the volume. And when you press, I think, R1 or R2, it dims the screen. So you're going to be playing the game, and all of a sudden you're not going to have any sound, and the screen's going to be so dark you can't see it. And from what I can tell, there's no way around this. So do not use Batocera on this thing. Stick with Emulation. Emulation has just overall much better functionality on this thing anyways. It's what it was built for. And if also I found running Batocera, there's no way to connect to Wi-Fi. I put in my Wi-Fi dongle and nothing. It would not work. Went back to Emulation and it works no problem. It's been really easy to transfer over ROMs and all my files over the Wi-Fi, and everything is looking and sounding great. I will show you on another video my custom kind of setup here, just how nice everything looks with video snaps and images and everything scraped. And we'll test out some systems and some different games, and I'll be back also with a more in-depth review after I spend some more time with this thing. But like I say, right now I'm super impressed and just really loving this device. If you're trying to decide between the purple and the black, I would say go with the purple. On another note, because if you get the black one, you might get stuck with an older version of this thing, and it's the same hardware, but the older version is known to have issues with overheating and with charging very slowly. I've run into some of these issues myself. If you see on mine, the black one, it was supposed to be the updated version, but they actually sent me an old one, I guess by mistake. There's a reset button on the bottom. That's how you know it's the old version. And I have had some issues with, it doesn't charge quite as well. But it's too early to really say if any of this will be an issue. So far, I'm able to still play on it just fine. But if you get the purple version, you know for sure that's a newer version of the system where they fixed a lot of these issues. Before I forget, here's a little R-type. And I'm showing off the different angles of the screen. It doesn't matter from what angle you look at it. You can see everything still so clearly and sharply. And my camera, once again, is not really doing it justice, but no matter what angle you look at it, it looks great. So really impressed with the screen, and just as a whole, yeah, I'm really pleased with this purchase at $60. Come on, this is amazing. I'm gonna get a lot of value out of this thing. They could have put a little bit more care into the included SD card. Not all of the things work properly out of the box, but you're not expected to really stick with what they gave you. You're gonna put your own stuff on there, and I think you're gonna be happy. If you're new to emulation, there might be a little bit of a learning curve. There might be some things that you have to figure out. But in my case, I was able to just copy my ROM folders from my PC right on over to the SD card, as well as all my scraped information, video snaps, all that. I could just copy it over, and then it worked immediately on this system. So I'll show you, like I say, I'll show all that in the next video. We'll test out some different games and systems, and I'll be back with a full review as well. So tell me what you want to see. If you want to see anything in particular, any games specifically tested on this device, and I will try and get that in the next video. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. If you're interested in picking up one of these things, I bought mine on Retro Mimi. I will put a link in the description. It was $59.99 US with free shipping also. Really good deal. It came pretty quickly. I was expecting it to take a long time. I think it was here in a couple of weeks. have the aluminum version also, which is a bit more expensive. It's supposed to be just a more solid build, and with, you know, better heat management. But for me, I'd rather just get the plastic one for $60 and just be perfectly happy with that. Like I say, you know, the black, it says it's the new version that had some fixes on these issues here, but I got sent the old one. I'm not gonna complain. You know, it took me so long to even open it and figure that out after I received it, because I was too busy with the holidays and everything to even open this up and check it out. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you might want to go with the purple just to be safe and make sure that you are getting the new version. But anyways, that's just me. I'm absolutely loving this device so far. So first impressions, is a great little handheld. I'm really happy with the purchase. Glad I bought it. But I'll let you know what I think after some more testing, some more use. Anyways, thank you again for watching today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel for future content. Hope you had a happy new year. Let's make this one better than the last one. Alright, take care. See you next time.